Hello, y'all. What's up? What's up? What's up? It is me, Natty, and today I wanted to talk to you about polyps or polypses or a polyp, right? Because we had a lovely guest yesterday and she was talking about it. So I decided I would go in a little bit more on what a polyps is. Okay. So give some people some time to come to the room. Hello, how are you? I'm good. What about you? All right, so today we're talking about polyps or uterine polyps or, what a polyps is. Now, I know you probably can't see me with this shade, but I like the sun I'm getting. Everywhere else is shady. So, hello, let's see. All right, oops. All right, so let me see if I can pin any questions or anything. Not sure. All right, so I'm talking about polyps today. What are you interested in? Okay, so all right, so a polyps is a growth in a uterine growth. Well, a uterine polyps is a growth in the uterine cavity, okay, of a woman, the soft tissue, right? And it looks like a mushroom. It's very similar to fibroids. It's also hormone dependent. So just like fibroids, they grow, if you have excess hormones in your body. The uterine polyp will also grow if you have excess hormones in your body too. But the difference between like a fibroid and a uterine polyps is that usually women who are over 40 are like in their 40s, between 40 and like 50 get polyps. Meanwhile, it's less likely for you if you are in your 30s or younger than 30 to get a polyps, right? I'm not quite sure right now why that is. I'm gonna continue to look into that, right? But this is interesting because it goes back to that whole nobody tells us about these feminine situations. Nobody tells you to look out for fibroids. Nobody tells you to look out for endometriosis. Nobody tells you to look out for PCOS or other types of ovarian cysts or anything, right? So what they do tell you though, especially when you have fibroids, is that just wait and see. They tell you to wait and see. Right. So how many have heard the whole wait and see story? Wait and see that the uterine fibroid will go away when you become, when you reach your 40s or when you go through menopause. But why don't they tell you that in the same breath, you can now develop polyps? And a polyps can become cancerous. A polyps can cause uterine pain. A polyps can cause abnormal vaginal bleeding. Okay, so like irregular bleeding or bleeding when you're not exactly menstruating. And this can be like extremely confusing, especially, if you are trying to conceive and you are maybe in your 40s or, 50s, some women, have not fully gone through menopause, right? Good for you, right? And if you're trying to conceive and you're trying to use your menstrual as like an indication of when you may be ovulating, it can be very frustrating and very misleading and very confusing if you're bleeding irregularly, right? And you're trying to figure out, you're trying to use the last day of your menstruation to determine when you ovulate. That's one reason why, I really suggest that women learn to, track your ovulation, through more than one method, not just through looking at when your last menstrual period was, which, that's really like, you probably really shouldn't be using that. Because if you're using that method, you're probably trying to use the day 14 as the day of ovulation, and that's not necessarily true for you, right? So it's like you really need to work on that, right? You need to use other methods. You can use a basal body thermometer. You can check your cervical mucus, or, you know, cervical fluid as well. They call that the same. I call it cervical fluid. So I always kind of try to like revert it back to, like, when I think of mucus, I'm not thinking about pus. So what's coming out of the woman's cervix is not pus. But yeah, so, you know, you could check your cervical fluid. You could also check your cervical opening and the firmness or the softness of it. So it's like, you don't want to just rely on whether you are actually physically bleeding out of your vagina in order to tell when your period is, right? So again, like I was saying, the polyps can cause vaginal bleeding, which can be confusing, right? So who wants to be confused if you're trying to track your period in order to determine if you are fertile or going to be fertile in the coming days? It's just not cool, right? So you definitely want to, you know, be up on these things, have some fertility awareness, you know what it is that affects us as women, and like do the things that are there for us to do the things that are feminine, that are natural, do the things that increase your fertility. Because I know a lot of you're not thinking about having a baby right now. Some of you, you know, who are actually listening to this, you're not thinking about having a baby right now. You see my channel, BlackFertility, and you get all turned off. You're like, ooh, I'm not trying to have a baby. Look, this is deeper than having a baby just to have a baby, okay? My channel, basically, I am really literally trying to increase your fertility, because to me, fertility is life. You know, yes, a baby is the rebirth and the embodiment and the manifestation and the gift, right, of fertility. A baby is a gift, right? But you also are here. You also are a woman. You also are feminine. You also your body has needs and requirements. We have maintenance. We you know, we're not just born in a vacuum. There are things that we need to do and we need to be conscious of in order to sort of maintain our humanity, our existence, right? And part of that is taking care of your fertility, is increasing your fertility where it is decreased, where it is attacked, where, you know, you can do something about it. So let me just invite some people to the room, because I realize Instagram is not really doing that for me today. So I'm going to go ahead and see who wants to chime in. Okay. And then we're going to continue, right? But this is definitely some information that a lot of people don't know about. I mean, not many people know what a polyps is, and I'm pretty guilty of that myself, right? So there we go. Right, so we're talking about polyps, or uterine polyps, is what they are. And look, I'm pretty sure that Black women, just like for fibroids, that we are at a greater risk of getting polyps. Now, I don't have the facts on that right now, but if a polyps is anything similar to a uterine fibroid, if it's anything similar to the fertility rate, I can almost guarantee you that we're probably more at risk of getting a polyps. So, hey, mystery baby, what's up, girl? All right. Do you know what a polyps is? Because honestly, I don't think I would have ever known what a polyps was if I wasn't researching fibroids. And I wouldn't have researched fibroids, you know, if it wasn't for some other stuff. So I'm just talking about what a polyps is. It is a uterine growth, or growth in the uterus, right, that can cause fertility issues because it can block the tubes. A uterine polyps can protrude through the cervix, and it can cause pain. and it can cause pain during or after intercourse or during intercourse. Really? Are you serious? You had a polyps? Was it a polyps or a fibroid? Right? Because they claim that women who are in their 30s or younger, that you are less likely to have them. Apparently, only 1 in 100 women under, or like around 30, like under 40, will get a polyps. About 3 in 10 women around the ages of like 40 and 50 will have a polyps, but if you're younger, it's supposed to be like a dramatically lower instance of getting a polyps. So I just wanted to talk about that yesterday because it's been coming up so much. So many women have been asking me about polypses, right? Okay, are you serious? So yeah, it's like nobody talks about, you know, the whole infertility thing, right? You ate too much Mickey D's. I think they're guilty of a lot of, you know, fertility issues. Look, I did work at McDonald's, but they fired me because I wasn't smiling enough, you know, whatever. Okay, I was like, are you all serious? They fired me because I didn't smile. I didn't know you could do that. But that was what they literally told me. You're not smiling enough. And I'm like, all right. I couldn't stop smiling. Like I was smiling when they told me that. They should have gave me my job back after they told me that, because I couldn't stop smiling. But yeah, so after that I kind of went vegan. I went and worked at Harvey's, and then yeah, I told my story yesterday. So basically I went to work at Harvey's. They told me I had abnormal uterine cells. And then, so after that, basically, I found some pamphlet outside where they were basically telling me they were going to laser my pum-pum. Yo, they told me they wanted to laser my pum-pum. Okay, I told them where to shove the laser, basically. And it wasn't inside of me. But anyways, but right outside of the clinic, or right outside of, it was like at a hospital. So right outside of the operating room, or whatever that room was, right outside of it, there was literal pamphlets on how to heal the exact same thing that I was in there for. So I was like, why, y'all are stupid. Y'all put this pamphlet right here for me to see this. So I went and I read it, and it was like, change your diet, change your lifestyle, do this, and that. When I tell you I did this, and that, and then it went away. I went back and they told me, they were like, oh, it's gone. There's no instances. All your cells are back to normal. And I was like, so y'all were about to have a freaking Star Wars party up in my vagina for what reason? When all I had to do was eat a freaking cabbage leaf. Okay, all I had to do was freaking drink some broth or something, like eat a carrot, and I'm good. And y'all wanted to stick, you know, talking about, y'all were trying to figure out whether you are on my, I'm too much jokes. I'm going to stop. But yeah, basically was trying to laser my vagina to remove the abnormal cells. So I am glad that I did not do that. Right. And, you know, so with the polyps thing now too, is pretty much the same. They want to remove it either by hysteroscopy, saline, hysteroscope, like sticking all this type of stuff in your vagina to remove it, to cut it out. I don't know. I'm just, But a polyps, you can get a polyps in other places too. You can get it in your nose. You can get it in your ears. You can get it in other parts of your body. I think it's like basically like a skin tag that grows on the inside of your body. So, you know, like an overgrowth, right? And you can reduce, like, it's hormone dependent. So it's dependent on the estrogen in your body. If you have too much estrogen, they actually give you like progesterone to reduce it. How did you get rid of yours? Or like, did they cut it out, or did they give you meds? What did you do to get rid of it? And I know there's like a little bit of a delay, so I'm just going to kind of wait for you to respond, right? So yeah, they give you progesterone, or that's one thing that they might give you, right? It's a progesterone, a type of progesterone, but there's issues associated with progesterone as well. You know, progesterone, that's what they use if you are trying to do the hormone replacement when you're older. Okay, so is that what you took? You took shepherd's purse? Right, you went yachty style with it, didn't you? You didn't, right? So see, the herbs, okay? That was the herbs. Like, you can use herbs to get rid of a lot of this stuff. right? Total vegan, lettuce, peppers, and water went in hard. And it went away, right? It went away, right? Like, come on. Of course. Right. So why are we playing games? Why are we playing games? Right? What's your matter? What's your matter? What's your matter? What's your matter, Shane? Why you crying? Why you crying? Did you baby? Did you baby? Why you crying? Tell them why you crying. Yeah, it was kind of cold today, so the weather kind of messed him up just a little bit. You little fushy. What's your man? Want milk? Want milk? Okay, we're going to give him some milk. Herb life and breast milk life in the building today. So yeah, I want to invite you to my you gotta maybe join my, what you call it, I haven't given it a name yet, but I'm gonna be doing like a 6-month program, okay, to basically help women to increase their fertility. So I want you to join, right? So it's not starting yet, maybe not till like January or December, but I'm gonna save a little space for you, okay? Bat, right? All right. So that's definitely what I want to do. Hello, Belinda Wiseby. All right, so we were talking about polyps or uterine polyps and what they are, how you can be affected, right? And, you know, basically trying to raise awareness, because as Black women, we typically don't ever hear about this stuff until your legs are up in the air and, you know, they're turning the lasers on in order to, you know, they're trying to literally assault the vagina with lasers. Like, I don't know. I've never heard nobody else with these stories, but I know from the reading that I do, they will use lasers for like fibroids and other stuff. But like what if the laser just like goes too deep in the skin, or what if they cut the wrong thing off? So, oh yeah. So one more thing is that the polyps is like, it's supposed to look like a mushroom. It has a stalk. So unlike a fibroid, okay, there's 3 types of fibroids, but there's women at 80 years old having babies, and I like, it's not even just to have a baby. Like, to me, fertility is like, it's up there with femininity. It's up there with life, you know? So it's like beyond it. Of course, it encompasses whether you have a baby, but you could, for a polyps, you can be in your 40s and 50. It typically affects you if after you've gone through menopause. So if you don't get on the fertility ship, you better get back on that ship. You better get back on that ship. You better get back on. If you don't get back on that fertility ship, if something else can sink. Your uterus can sink. That's if they didn't cut it out. But that's what they want. If the polyps keeps returning after they cut it out, that's the next step. They're going to want to cut the uterus out. And I'm pretty sure once polyps has become a little more popular, that you're going to hear a lot of women having their fibroids removed because of a polyps too. Right now, it's like fibroids is the main reason why they're doing hysterectomy. But once Black women catch on and they're like, oh, you mean I can get rid of fibroids? I can get rid of fibroids. They're probably going to move on to polyps next. And then who knows what else, right? Just cutting out. They're doing too much. They need to cut it out. So yeah, better get back on that shit. Right? So no. To me, I feel like the menopause is somewhat of like a nutritional deficiency, like a hormonal imbalance caused, well, I don't want to use the word cause, but a hormonal imbalance that is affected by stress, nutrition, diet, mentality, lifestyle, fibroids for the last 7 years. What have you been doing, right? So yeah, I think menopause is like an accumulation of toxins, your lifestyle habits, what you're eating, what you're not eating. I don't feel like we should have to go through menopause. Like, in my opinion, I don't think we should have to go through menopause. I think if I am 92 and I want to have a baby before I go, I'm gonna be a 92-year-old mom again. Like, why? Why? If I'm doing everything right, if I'm active, if I'm staying youthful and young, really? Cause that's what they do. They tell you when you're going to stop having a baby. They tell you when you're going to die. They tell you, what your life is going to be like, and then you act accordingly. They're basically programming you. They're programming you. If you tell a child that a child, you're dumb, you're stupid, the child is more than likely going to grow up and think the child is dumb and stupid, unless something else, some other phenomenon happens. And I'm saying, look, I'm the phenomenon. Okay, I'm going to be the phenomenon here. So no, screw infertility. Like, if you have your organs and they're all intact, you mean to tell me they just stop working? They just stop functioning? Or do they, what do they start doing then? They start making just gas? They just start making gas? They went from making hormones to, oh, we're chilling? Please. So yeah. So yeah, that's my real opinion on infertility. Like, I don't think it's something that has to happen. I think if you live a certain life, like, I think, we live in a world where it's like stress beats down on you, and then the more it beats, if you don't do anything to either balance it out or to outweigh the stress and the negativity, then you will be consumed by it, right? Otherwise, it's like, I don't see no need to it. That might be the only reason why I become biblical, is when it comes to fertility, I am a Bible thumper. I'm one of those ones. No, she had a baby when she was 892 years old, even though she don't exist in the Bible, but the Bible of her. Okay, I'm a she Bible, whatever. I'm making stuff up now, but you know what I mean. Like, if there are, that's when I become a Christian. When you start talking about death, and I'm like, no, they were living how many hundreds of years and still having babies? Okay. So yeah, I don't go by that, right? Hello, Nicole, Fit and Fab, right? So that is my take on polyps and fertility, infertility. You don't jump off like, just because you're 44 doesn't, that's when the new stuff starts coming in. Now you start seeing other things that nobody was warning you about. So it's one thing that they weren't warning you about, the PCOS and the endometriosis and the cysts and the fibroids when you were younger, but then they tell you, okay, if you have fibroids, you're good. Just, you don't have to cut it out if you don't want to. You can wait and see. You can wait until you go through menopause, and then it's going to go away. But then you go through menopause, or you start going through menopause, and they're like, oh, look, it's a polyps. Take this. Let us do this. Give us your womb for this. It's like, so when does it end? When does it end? Right? So it's like, you can't just think that, you're not trying to have a baby, so fertility doesn't matter. Not true. That's like saying, I'm not trying to have a baby, my womb doesn't matter. Or, I'm not trying to have a baby, I don't need my ovaries anymore. I don't need my tubes. They're all very necessary. They're hormone balancers. They're indicators of your health, your strength, and your vitality, right? They're giving you signs, letting you know how well your body is functioning, how healthy you are. So I think, you should honor that by giving your womb what it needs, by giving your body what it needs, taking care of yourself, right? And not just sort of attaching having a baby or pregnancy or fertility with this negative concept, because like, your womb is constantly producing. You're either producing a baby, or you're producing energy. You're producing a certain vibration. Your womb vibrates. It has its own resonance. So something is being created. Something is manifesting. And a lot of times, that's why, to me, I think that fibroids are manifesting, is because outwardly you're not able to produce what you are creating. So it's either inwardly, where you're holding a lot of that energy, it's manifesting as a fibroid or something else, right? Because a lot of times we don't feel like our gifts are appreciated, or they're welcomed, or again, you can go through trauma and go through all this stress. So you're still creating, okay, but it's like, where is it being expressed at? So it's like, Don't throw the womb away. Don't throw the womb away with the baby in the bathwater. I don't know. I'm making stuff up. Don't throw don't throw. They say don't throw the baby away with the bathwater, but I'm saying don't throw the baby away with the flowing vaginal fluids and the womb and the ovaries and the tubes. Whatever. There you go. I'm pretty. I'm playing, y'all. But no, for real. You know, like I think if we looked at fertility differently, we wouldn't even look at having a baby in that way, like, because that way to me it sounds like still like a certain limit, like there's a time frame to have a baby. And I think that works for a society that is patriarchal, okay. Then you could say, well, that time is over for me. I'm going through menopause, I can't have a baby. And then you can feel, I guess, liberated. That's when women are supposed to feel liberated, when they're 40 and they can't have a baby no more. Really? Are you serious? That's when we're supposed to be like, yeah. No. No. What if you're fertile forever? Think about that, right? How would your concept and your mindset be about having a baby then? Then you would have more power and more control over when you had a baby, or what that meant, like what the context of having a baby meant in society. So I think even that idea is still like born out of this whole patriarchal type of life and liberty that we have, where we believe that fertility is fixed and finite, and there is a whole childbearing age. For most people, maybe that's the childbearing age, but what about in other countries and other places where they're having babies? That is the prime of their life. Their 50s or their 40s are the prime of their life. They're having babies. That's normal for them. Here, what used to be the norm? Wasn't it 20 years old? People were dying at 20 years old. You bet you had better had a baby before you were 20. That wasn't too long ago, right? That was the norm. So your fertility is affected by just more than just your age. It's affected by the level of stress, your adaptability to stress, what's going on in your environment, the foods you are consuming. I mean, you can become infertile next week if you start if there's like a war and bombs are dropping and there's famines. That has nothing to do with age. Women, your body will turn off all capability of having a baby depending on how stressed you are, right? So don't look at fertility as, ooh, it's just age related. There's a lot of other factors that will come into play that you can be affected by, right? That we're not necessarily taught or thinking of on a regular basis. So yeah, you can be infertile, like my sister said. She said at 20 because she had polyps. Nothing to do with whether she was having a baby or not, right? So anyways, I just wanted to talk about polyps. And while you're here, I want to also invite you to my call that I am having right after this live. You see, I haven't figured out how to use this stuff yet, but it really sucks that everybody else can comment and I can't. How do I comment? What's going on here? Do I need to get somebody else? I think that's what I have to do the next time. I might have to comment on another page. But yeah, the link in my bio will take you to a page where I am basically going to go over 4 moves that women need to make in order to increase your fertility naturally. So if you would like to join in on that call, I would love to have you. I'm going to be doing it as soon as I get off this live, right? And basically I'm going to explain certain things that you need to do, give you the framework in order to help you to increase your fertility naturally. So that way, again, we can have babies when we're 180 together. Who's with me? Right? Right. So yeah, I don't look at fertility as something that's just fixed and finite and set in stone. Not when you can become fertile tomorrow. So go ahead and go over to my bio right now, and I will be getting on that call to help you to increase your fertility naturally. And so just remember, again, it's beyond just having a baby. Your fertility to me is life. Like it's water, it's air. If you're not fertile, you're dying. Like, I don't want to go through menopause. Are you serious? That means something else is coming down to the pipeline. What comes down the pipeline after menopause? Like, what, you get a whole 20? Are they going to tell you? They tell you, well, you got a whole 20 years to enjoy yourself too? Not me. Not me, right? I'm not looking forward to that. I mean, and I'm not looking forward to it in like again, a way that like insists that there's something wrong or bad about it. I'm not looking forward to it because I don't feel like you should have to go through it when they tell you to, just because they say. And that's another thing. I feel like menopause for some women, especially in the West, is because we're not doing the things that keep women healthy, young, and vital. We are not, right? And that's what my call is going to be about too, is how to do some of those things, again, to keep you feminine, fertile, and fun forever, right? But like, yeah, we're not doing the things that help us to stay young and youthful. So you basically just coming over here and drying up and shriveling up and dying, okay? Whereas you have women in other countries at 80, they're still climbing mountains, right? At 90, who knows, they're still doing a lot of things. And here we're not making the tinctures, we're not drinking the vegetable broths, we're not eating the foods that keep you, firm, fit, and and healthy and agile, and so if you're eating, if you're eating McDonald's and fried chicken and like doing from these stores that they have, KFC, whatever, I'm talking about, these places, those are not the healthiest foods. That's not something that a 40-year-old woman should be eating. That's not something that a 50-year-old woman should be eating. Because I do think as you age, and like I said, if you're not doing stuff to replenish, to pour back into your cup, that's 40 years of you pouring out into the world. You are depriving yourself left, right, and center, and you're not pouring back into you. So of course you're going to go through menopause, and I don't subscribe to that. I don't agree with it. So anyways, everybody, Belinda Wise Bear, I want to see you on the call. Click the link in my bio. Mystery baby, why not come along? T3 doula services, click the link in my bio. Everybody, link in my bio, link in my bio, link in my bio. All right, so yeah, I'm going to be doing a call to basically show you some ways that you can help to increase your fertility naturally, or to give you the framework so that way you can increase your fertility naturally. So I'm going to end this call. I really loved having you all. I will invite you again. Thank you for coming. Bye. Any questions, you can again hit me up in the DMs, or I guess maybe I'll open up the chat in my call and you can ask me there, because I really want to end this now. Bye bye.